So welcome to the celebration of Wep Renpet, which is the annual flooding of the Nile as embodied by the god Hapy. We've often done this ritual in the pool. So we want to make sure there's lots of water present. And we'll see that further on in our ceremony as well. This is the beginning of the season of Akhet, the season when the whole land is flooded. And the first of Akhet is also the month of Djehuty. So traditionally, people observed a remembrance of Osiris, first of all, as ushering out the old year, because Osiris represented death and renewal, and then honored Sekhmet and celebrated her because, hey, we survived another year of the plague, right? And we want her protection in the years coming ahead. And at the same time, celebrate Hathor, because who doesn't love Hathor? And then there is Hapy, and you'll hear today excerpts from this very long, great hymn of the inundation. And when you hear it, I want you to be imagining those rocky caverns that are way south in Upper Egypt, where the Nile comes together and churns and roils and then comes out. Wep Renpet is calculated by watching for the star that we call Sirius now, but which the Egyptians called Sopdet, and Isis was associated with her. And when Sopdet begins to be visible at dawn on the horizon, sort of, 7 o'clock from Orion, called Sahu, then we know that it's the opening of the year. And although the flood might vary a little bit from year to year, the Egyptians could watch the stars and have an idea when this was going to happen. At the same time, this is when they celebrated the birthday of the king, formally and publicly, whether it was the actual natal birthday or not. So it's a big auspicious day. Thousands of people came out, celebrated, partied, and joined with the priests in their prayers. So at this time, I ask you to join us in turning our attention to the sacred. Awake in beauty, O Sekhmet, Eye of Ra. May you awaken in peace. Awake in peace, O Sekhmet, powerful one. May you awaken in peace. Awake in peace, O Sekhmet, Lady of Flame. May you awaken in peace. Awake in peace, O Sekhmet, Luminous One. May you awaken in peace. As we pass through this threshold between the old year and the new, the doors of the sky are open. The doors of the earth are unlocked.
Sahu has risen. The sky is clear. Sopdet comes arrayed in her brilliance. Bright star appearing at dawn. Radiantly, the daughter of Ra, golden one, rises. Her mysterious form is in the front of the solar boat. On this beautiful day of the birth of the sun, this New Year's feast, Wep Renpet. On this first day of the season of Akhet, the first day of the month of Djehuty, let us gather close. May we follow Djehuty on the beautiful day of the beginning of the inundation. Hear the jubilation in the temple. Djehuty comes with hands joined with Maat, who is everywhere. We move in Maat. We live in Maat. She makes her seat on the brow. The two hands of Djehuty is upon her beauty before our face. We honor you all, from sky, from earth, from south and west, from north and east, from each land, each place where your beauty shines. See what is in our hearts, our inmost being. My heart is open and blameless. Heaven exalts, and the earth is full of gladness.
The fire is laid. The incense is lit. The water is poured. The offerings are set in place. May offerings of every kind come forth in abundance.
Duo Hapy, Inedge Herrick Hapy, Param Ta E Ersank Kemet, Imen Seshem Kakui Heru, Hesenef, Shemsuef, Yuha Shao, Kamau Ra Ersank Out Nebet, Sisa'a Chasset, Wao Ermu, Idetif Puha and Pet, Mary Geb, Karab, Nepri, Swaj, Hemut Net Pateha.
Hail, flood, emerging from the earth, arriving to bring Egypt to life, hidden of form, the darkness in the day, the one whose followers sing to him as he waters the plants, created by Ra to make every herd live, who satisfies the desert hills removed from the water, for it is his dew that descends from the sky. He, the beloved of Geb, controller of Nepri, the one who makes the crafts of Ptah verdant.
Ir Onib, Menta Jurif, Shiri Her Nemi, Shebeb Remech, Kefet Kesefef, Hedef Suchenmu, Ubenef Kurta Haut, Kurket Nebet Rishut, Cheset Nebet, Shesepanus Sabit, Ibheneb Kefal.
He is greatly, the whole land suffers if he is greedy. Great and small fall moaning. People are charged at his coming. The one who creates him is Khnum. When he rises, the land is in joy. The belly is glad. The jaw has held laughter. Every tooth is revealed.
Encower Jufau, Kamau Neferuneb, Neb Shefit, Nejem Seti, Sehetebi, Ef, Sekeper Samu and Menmenet, Redi Sefech, and Nedjerneb, Su and Juat, Peta Rechetiv, Mehe Ujau, Susuk Shanut, Redihet and Nemhu.
Bringer of food, riches, and provisions, creator of all goodness, Lord of reverence, sweet of scent, the one whose coming makes peace, creator of plants for the herds, provider of butchery for every god. While he is in the underworld, sky and earth are in his charge, filler of storerooms, enlarger of granaries, the one who gives plenty to the orphan.
Serudket Abineb, Nen Ketketeris, Sekeper Emu and Pehetieth, Nen Mejuhe, Ener, Hutu Ju, Herhutif, Nen gemah tuef, nen bahu, nen keperut, nen kerabutef, shedu em shetau, nen rechtu bunetif, nen gemahatu, tepahetef em shesim.
Grower of trees for every desire, without any cutting for it. Creator of boats by his might, without any carpenter with stone tools. The mountains are quarried by his flooding, without him being glimpsed, without workers, without management for him. One who carries off in secrecy and the place that is his not known, nor can his cavern be glimpsed in writings.
Unam gau param kentish, eba hesabek mesnet, besejet neti emf jesser, besasuri seket, sahenen ta temem, susur, wa em irin ki, nen wepet, henayef, ir hitet nen kesem tuef, temem ir nf tes.
Whoever is in want emerges in joy. Sobek, child of Neat, bares his teeth, and the Aeneid within it is parted. The one who sprouts and causes the marsh to drink. The one who strengthens everybody. One man is made powerful by a doing for another, without any dispute with him. Maker of peace who cannot be bowed, and none can set a limit to him.
Semen Maat im Ibu Remech, Djehuty Geriger Sa, Shuag, Sheben Hana Wajur, Tenkerav Nebri, Duatu Necheru Nebu, Nen Abidu Hai Her Chasud, Nen Seket Jertef Em Nebu, Nen Setek and Hedge, Nen Unum Tu Kesped Ma'a, It Kerhat Rud.
What is right is fixed in the hearts of men, but falsehood is said after poverty. A man who mixes with the marsh water is not one to master grain. And even if you praise all gods, there is no bird who will descend on the desert lands. There is no one who beats his hand with gold. There is no man who is drunk on silver. You cannot eat steadfast lapis lazuli. Barley is the foremost for strength.
Sha'atu enek hesi bent, hesitu enek harjert, nehem enek jamu kerdu, abertu enek aput, e hershepsi seker ta. Suajinu hau remech sank hati haka, mer ashat and menmenet.
For you are started songs with the harp. For you they sang with hand claps. For you youths and children shout out. For you the crowds are assembled. One who comes with riches adorning the land, one who makes fresh the hue of the bodies of men, one who enlivens the heart of pregnant women, who loves the multitude of herds.
Ubenek em niu teher, her sa'atu em enuik, henu em sashen em shert, ket nebet chetef retepta. Semu nebu ma'ach herdu. Semek and san unme unmu bu never pa'a her iwit. Pa ta au her fet.
When you rise in the city of hunger, then people are sated on your supplies, with stalk in the mouth, lotus to the nose, everything to sprout upon earth, all vegetables in the hands of children. They can forget the meals, goodness cast over the streets, and this entire land leaping for joy.
Tema muches pesajin, Sened and Shafid, Iran, Saiv Neber Jur, Verswaj, Idebui. Waj ka iuik, Hapy, Waj ka iuik. Me or Kemet, Sekeper ketepef. Swaj Idebui, Waj ka iuik, Hapy, Waj ka iuik. Sag Remechem and Manat em inuik and Sa. Waj ka iuik, Hapy, Waj ka iuik.
All people raising the praise of the Aeneid have fear for the awe made by his son, the Lord of all, to make the two riverbanks verdant. Verdant the spirit of your coming. Verdant the spirit of your coming, O flood. Verdant the spirit at your coming. Come to Egypt. Make its happiness. Make the two riverbanks verdant. Verdant the spirit at your coming. Verdant the spirit at your coming, O flood. Verdant the spirit at your coming. Men and herds are brought to life by your deliveries of the fields. Verdant the spirit of your coming. Verdant the spirit of your coming, O flood. Verdant the spirit at your coming.
We give thanks to Sekhmet for protection in the past year, and call on her for protection in coming year. May she shield us from sickness and any harm. As Hapy burst forth from the deepest caverns of the source of the Nile, we are washed and refreshed by sweet new water. We pause to release that which does not serve us. Pain, misunderstanding, sickness, confusion, fear, and conflict. We allow ourselves to be renewed and refilled with the waters of life. And may the divine couple, Djehuty and Maat, grant us wisdom which embraces justice, understanding hand in hand with mercy, compassion, and balance with all of life.
The season of Shamu, dryness, has been a long one. By the work of our hands and the gifts of the gods, we have lived to see the opening of another year. The season of Akhet holds promise, potential, new life, magic. From our thoughts, within we imagine the future. We let the surging waters fill our dreams and bring them forward on this tide of renewal. Deep in our being, we let the waters swell, opening our consciousness, opening new possibilities, opening the way. And now our ritual is ended, and we depart with happiness in Nefer Emhotep, in beauty and peace. And thank you all for being with us. If you want to turn your sound back on, I'll open it up. Anne, it's great to see you. It's been too long.
It has been too long, Holly. I was really glad to see this, and what a lovely, sweet ceremony this was. I really enjoyed it.
Good, thank you. We do too. And Brother Doug, hey there.
You're muted, Doug.
Muted.
How's that?
That's better.
Perfect.
I'm always amazed when it works.
And Avi,
It was a
all the
lovely
way
ceremony.
all the way
It was
from
lovely.
Israel. Hello, from Tel Aviv.
Hello.
Good to have you with us. Happy New Year. And Sarah,
Hi,
Hey,
everyone.
lady.
Sorry you can't see my face right now.
we're just glad you're here.
Thank you.
And we appreciate Candace and Jim showing their faces this early in the morning. They're almost on the West Coast. And Roberta, I don't think, I'm trying to remember if we've met. Welcome, glad you're here. Did you find us on
Thank you.
Facebook?
I did, yes. Thank you for letting me join.
Of course, we're glad you're here.
Glad to have you.
Do you
all
mind
the
if
way
we
from
ask where you
England.
live?
England, Kent.
Okay, great.
Is there any way I could join you for more ceremonies on Facebook?
We'd love for
I'd
you
like
to.
to follow you.
And you might want to put your email in the chat box, or at least send it to me in the chat box, because I also send out an email reminder to people.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll try and find it. I'm not used to Zoom though. Thank you though. That was beautiful.
Mhm.
We'll
Thank you.
have a recording, and I'll make sure you see the copy of that when we post it.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
So I wonder if anybody has thoughts about anything that came to you during the ceremony.
One thing that really struck me was the freshness of the water sounds and imagery in this time here in South Carolina, where it's so hot and humid and water is not necessarily friendly feeling. It was really nice to have that reminder that it can be refreshing.
And out here in Southern Nevada, after, well, we're still in a huge drought, but we got rain Thursday night and Friday night, and we had a real desert rainstorm, electrical show, thunder, and it just dumped water on us for about an hour, which is so badly needed. So we were just, yay.
Yeah. Hapy. Anybody else? You'll be coming up on your New Year this fall, won't you, Avi?
That
The
is
Jewish
true.
New Year?
We have a couple of months to go.
What, September, Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah, actually, because it's a leap year on the Jewish calendar this year, it'll be a bit later in the year than usual.
Okay.
So we have actually we just started the lunar month of Av, and then we have Elul before Rosh Hashanah comes along. So we actually have 2 lunar months until Rosh Hashanah here.
Okay. I appreciated your greeting from the desert. We're in kind of, it feels like the tropics, I think, here these days. It's really, really humid. It'll probably storm this afternoon. But you know what? I'm grateful. I wish I could share some of the water with our friends in Nevada.
Yes, send us water, send us water.
And Nevada, California, the places that are literally on fire.
Yeah.
Yes, the entire
Oregon,
Southwest.
Oregon, Washington. And you're talking about our being so dry and humid with these sporadic storms we've had. Yeah, the downpouring of water is nice, but we could really use a couple of days of just good, slow soaking rains, because the water comes in, soaks in, and then the next day the plants are starting to do this again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Doug, are there fires near you?
Well, no, not too much in Southern California. It's Central California that is a concern, but yeah, water here is very precious. And like in Southern Nevada, it changes the way you see things quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's no rain forecast for us, but and we can't even go out and turn on our hoses, so we won't do that.
I have been asking Sekhmet for rain, and when when it comes in a very typical Sekhmet fashion.
Over the top. Yeah.
Roberta, you've been experiencing kind of crazy weather like us Southerners lately, haven't you?
Yeah,
in England.
absolutely. Yeah, it's very hot and humid here today. I'm looking a bit hot and bothered. Sorry about that. But recently we had record-breaking temperatures for England, the hottest day on known record. So yeah, that was hard. And just like you, I wish our trees and our land could have a good, long, slow drink.
We've been worried about you guys.
Really?
We're a little more prepared for it here, I think. Spoiled more like by air conditioning.
Yeah, I think we need to catch up.
What part of the country are you in?
Kent, which is like the southeast corner near France.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in Folkestone, so we can sometimes get the coastal breezes on a hot day, which is nice, but that doesn't always happen.
Yeah. Well, we this bowl, y'all have seen in pictures many ceremonies over Wep Renpet ceremonies over the year, and when we've done it in person, and I have rose water in here.
Wow.
Which is very Middle Eastern. And we came up with the trick years ago when we were out in a park about to die from the heat and humidity and mosquitoes. We put crushed ice that we had there for drinks. And so it made a really refreshing way. It was part of the ceremony that we would bless ourselves and dip our hands in the water. So I highly recommend that when you're at home. It's just a real simple meditative way to engage your senses. And then I would suggest you then take that water and maybe pour it out on your threshold or in front of your Sekhmet in the garden, Candace, or someplace that's special to you. And I actually take a little bowl of water from my altar and pour it out front every day and just, look around and give thanks for what I have and connect spiritually and ask for a blessing and protection on our neighborhood, which, seemed to become a more acute thing with COVID. So does anybody else have a suggestion for how you might incorporate a spiritual practice around Wep Renpet?
Isn't Isis associated with Sirius?
Absolutely. She is. The star was called Sopdet in ancient Egypt, and Sopdet and Isis are pretty much thought of one as the other. And there are some places, probably somebody like one of the classical writers, but I can't remember, would refer to the flood as Isis tears,
Mm.
crying for Osiris.
Whoa, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it
Thank
is.
you.
And that rain, Candace, you probably know, they would refer to that as, let's see, it would be Djehuty and Pet, a river in the sky.
Mm,
Mhm.
you're so knowledgeable.
We used to have our Sekhmet festival at this time of the year. And
Yeah.
it was an all-night fire circle.
Ah,
And it was, wow, it was amazing.
yeah. Was that with Abby and Jeff and that bunch?
Oh, yes, all of them. Mhm.
Oh, Klein, thanks for posting that stuff.
Yeah, Roberta, you had missed I believe, the introduction that that Holly delivered, so I put it in the chat box.
Thank you. It's most kind of you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'd just like to say, Candace and Jim, sorry I missed you guys in Atlanta.
Yeah, we missed you
but,
too.
Anyway, it was my time to let Holly just go and
And not be my roadie for a change.
but did miss seeing you, knowing that you were going to be there.
Missed you too. It was a fun time, really. And Holly and I, she learned I have a tendency to ham it up.
I think the
Say
word
it's
I
not
used
so.
was firecracker. Well, that made two of us.
Yeah, but they kept the hotel so cold. The meeting rooms and everything was so cold that we would go outside to get warm. And it was a beautiful temperature outside, and we could feel the humidity. And there's kind of a park-like setting in back of the hotel with streams and all. It was just glorious.
It was, and that for
Very
us
nice.
to go outside during Mystic South is just crazy.
Yeah, really it is.
But for those who don't know, Candace and I presented about being priestesses of Sekhmet, which was great fun to do together and seemed to be meaningful to those who attended. But Cherry Hill Seminary also had it was actually an alcove off of a meeting room where we set up an altar and a place to remember those who've passed on, particularly in the last 2.5 years while this conference could not take place because of COVID. And I was really grateful that they required you had to, when you checked in, you didn't get your name tag until you showed your physical proof of vaccination. And we had to be wearing a mask at all times. Now, you didn't have to in the general hotel, but you did in anything for the conference, and everybody did it. And nobody smothered. It worked out just fine. And nobody argued about it.
Yeah, that was amazing. That made me feel confident being there.
Yeah, me too. I didn't get sick. I've been home for 2 weeks. I didn't get sick.
I know. Same here.
And we did something neat. Roberta, you would maybe appreciate this, that we kind of jerry-rigged a Djehuty tree to put on the altar, and we had strips of cloth. So you could come in and just sit. We had a chaplain nearby if somebody broke down or wanted to talk. We only had one of those, and we were glad we were there. We had a book you could sign, but you could tie something on the Djehuty. We had a bowl of water beside it. And what else did we do? We had candles, battery, of course, because it was a hotel. So, and we brought the Djehuty tree. I say tree because it was actually a bunch of branches that we put in a big vase I had. And it's now down in the woods by the stream behind us. And we thought that the cloth was biodegradable, but it sure didn't feel like it. So if it doesn't seem to be rotting, maybe at Samhain, although we don't do Samhain, we may take that time to burn it in a ritual fire.
Also,
Sounds good.
the music. We had the music in the background, which I thought was very helpful.
Yeah.
Sounds absolutely gorgeous.
Are you familiar with Cherry Hill Seminary? We posted some pictures there, just in case you're interested. Cherry Hill's a pagan seminary,
Oh,
and I happen to work for them, and Candace does too.
congratulations to you.
I'm sorry?
Congratulations to you for getting that place. You know, it must be a good honor.
Well, it's a nonprofit, so it's a public organization, and I wish I could take credit for starting it, but I didn't. I got hired.
We do have one student from England.
Yeah, we've had a handful over the years, but we've got a graduate student right now. You don't know Karen Rainbird, do you? She's over in Wales.
Yeah, she's on the west side of England. And we're all distance ed virtual. So yeah. And I have to write a paper today, and I don't know what I'm going to say.
Is that for my class?
Yes, ma'am. It's for the intensive.
Yes, ma'am. I hear that.
See, I work for them, but I also take classes because the classes are really good.
What's the subject of that class?
Oh, we can't quite hear you, Avi.
I say, what's the subject of that class?
Oh, you'll love this. Candace, you want to tell them?
Well, it is our intensive, and it's on, oh goodness. Let me see if I can get the title here. Shifting Religious Landscape. The Shifting Religious Landscape, Ministry in an Interspiritual World.
Multiple religious identities. We've actually, our keynoter is Adrian Bird. Did you get to meet him? I think he came to your talk here.
It's possible, but I don't know if we managed to have one-on-one conversation.
I'm sure he'd be delighted for me to share his talks with you. His specialty, he's a Presbyterian religious studies professor. His wife's a minister. But he was president of our interfaith group for several years, and his specialty was something to do with Hinduism and Christianity in India. So he's done a real good analysis for our keynote, which I hope will provoke conversation.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And interesting, possibly to you, Roberta. This gentleman we're talking about is, isn't he Scottish, Holly?
I believe he's from Manchester.
Yeah, which is in the north. And then they
All
lived in Edinburgh, and he went to school there.
That's probably
Kids
where
were
I got
born in Edinburgh.
That's probably where I got the Scottish part from. And then,
very interesting.
then Doug needs to come to South Carolina so I can take him out for barbecue.
Yes.
No, I think it's my turn to take you out. We can arm wrestle.
You show up and I'll be glad to take you to several barbecue places. You can sample them all.
Have a deal.
How's your son and all the family?
Well, they've found a brand new house in Maryland, and they're moving in. Just the chaos of a young family coming together, but they're very happy. They really like the East Coast.
Great.
Did you say Maryland?
Yes, a little town called Rockville.
Okay, and my son is in Laurel, Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a son on the East Coast and a daughter on the West Coast.
Well,
That's
life
not
is
a good.
balanced.
They shouldn't do that to their mother.
Well, I am thinking seriously of selling everything, buying an RV, and parking it for 6 months in front of my daughter's house, and then 6 months in front of my son's house. I'll show them.
Let them take care of the utility and the water bill.
Exactly. And I'm sure their HOAs would love an RV right in front of their house.
Anne, are you making jewelry these days?
Not so much. I'm doing more paper arts these
Ah,
days, making paper bookbinding. I also took a class earlier this year up at John C. Campbell on encaustic painting, which is painting with wax. And I
yeah.
am in love with that. So I'm kind of pulling together a whole new set of ideas these days.
What, is that the one that our friend Kate Heald went to?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's all we got for you today. I love the visiting. I
That
know
was
it's probably almost Avi's bedtime, right?
No, it's
No, not yet.
this time it's I mean, last time it was the middle of the night. Now it's just 7:45 in the evening.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
the sun hasn't even set yet.
Did we tell you, have we told you we're gonna go to Egypt this fall?
You have.
Wait, let me say it
Ready
again.
for you.
Claude and I are going to Egypt this fall, just in case anybody missed that.
Any
We're
chance
so
you might
excited
have a
we
little-
can't stand it.
Any chance you might have a little side trip?
I wish that's what made me think about it. I thought, gosh, you know, relatively speaking, we'll be so close.
Okay, well, maybe next time around, you let me know.
Clyde keeps buying lottery tickets. For some reason, he cannot get the store clerks to give him the right one. I don't know what the problem is. I'm gonna have to go with him.
well, you know, after living here in Las Vegas for over 50 years, I realized that they didn't build those casinos out of people winning.
Hey, yeah. And I love it that we have such a poor educational system in the state of South Carolina, but the lottery is billed as the education lottery.
Oh, wow.
It
Yeah.
does fund scholarships, yeah, but that's not the big one.
Do you realize that here in Nevada, legalized gambling, but we cannot have a lottery here? We have to drive to California or Arizona to buy a lottery ticket.
Oh my goodness.
No kidding. No kidding.
That's probably because they would consider it competition.
That's it exactly. That's it exactly.
Here,
One time I went to a legislative hearing. It was actually about the Equal Rights Amendment, but that committee, and this was just a few years ago, the first thing on the agenda was a lottery. So here come all of these young people with their MBAs in their business suits to testify from the casinos to testify how, oh my gosh, if you have a lottery, it will break up the families. You can't do that. The casinos sent them.
Yeah, but which family were they talking about?
Their family.
Ooh.
Holly, I have to go. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm going to email you. I have a couple of questions about today, but I'd like to get in touch soon.
Okay, say hi.
And it was so good to see you.
Good to see you too, Clyde. Take good care of
All
yourselves.
right.
Wow.
Well, Roberta, you're the new girl, so is it okay if we pick on you again?
Sure thing.
I was just curious about what drew you to come today.
I'm a beginner priestess of Isis.
Ah,
Okay.
So that's my path. I need to find somewhere to formally be ordained and train, but I'm doing what I can.
yeah. How long have you been following that path?
Quite a number of years. I couldn't tell you exactly how many.
Well, if you'd ever like to, I'd be glad to talk to you. We have a good program at Cherry Hill that's a 15-month non-professional track for a community ministry certificate. It's not about ISIS, but I think it gives you the skills and background to be more confident as a leader. But you know, we're also open here at Osireion. It's not a coven.
Oh,
So
wow.
always welcome to us.
I would love to take up your offer. Thank you. Please, if you can, email me more.
We'll be in touch. That sounds good.
Please. Thank you.
And
Well,
James,
thank you. Thank you for your interest and for joining us today.
Yeah.
I couldn't miss it. I couldn't miss it.
It's good to find like-minded people, isn't it?
Absolutely is. And you're also beautiful, I may say, in your own way.
It's very sweet. I have to share that Hapy and I met when he came here a few years ago, and on a visit to basically to the Jewish community here from Israel. But he gave a talk that Cherry Hill Seminary co-sponsored with the Jewish Federation here in town about Julian, who some of you may know was considered the last pagan Roman emperor and restored the pagan temples. And that lasted until he got killed in battle, but good guy, very interesting person. Do you want to say anything about that, Hapy? And you might want to, if you can turn your volume up, that'd be great.
Let me see what I can do about that. Sometimes volume stays, sometimes it doesn't.
We'll just listen closely. How about that?
All right. So when I was asked about speaking on a topic that connected Jewish and pagan matters, I thought Emperor Julian was ideal for this. And the fact that he had a Neoplatonic background, that also fed into my interest in matters Greek. And he had a very interesting correspondence with the head of the Jewish community in the land of Israel at the time. And if he had survived a few more years, the third temple could have been built during his reign. There were spectacular things happening.
He actually authorized the funds for that, didn't he?
He did.
Just before he died.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, he made that authorization just before he went to battle with the Persians. If the battle had gone the other way, I mean, history would have been different.
Huh.
But Hapy has a real strong interest in religious studies and various religions. He's so thoughtful. Every holy day that Osireion keeps, he sends me a greeting, and I'm a real slacker on that stuff. But you are a religious studies professor, right?
Effectively.
Yes.
Yes, so certainly, Roberta, if you're interested in email contact, I'm happy to be in contact with you. In fact, here, I'll put my email in the chat as well.
Thank you. That's very gracious of you. Thank you.
And my language interests include not only Greek and Latin and classical Egyptian, they also include Celtic languages that may or may not figure into things in the UK.
There's a lot of, among the pagan community in the UK, as you can probably guess, all of you, there's a lot of Celtic influence.
Mm-hmm.
A very great amount of it. So, you know, it is very beautiful, but I kind of went the Egyptian way.
Okay.
Have you ever run into Lady Olivia's Temple of Isis? Well, she's passed on now.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think what, Candace, maybe 3 or
I
4
think,
years ago.
yeah, in Ireland. Well, that's a fellowship of ISIS.
Fellowship of ISIS. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That and they have quite a few local groups spread across a number of countries, and they've got quite a study program as well. I've always been interested. I haven't done it, but I've been interested in it. I look at it every so often.
That's interesting. I did send off to the Temple of Isis in Ireland and became a lifelong member, but I haven't done any of their training yet. I haven't yet managed to.
Mhm.
So thank you for the reminder. I feel that was meant to be. And, you know, many blessings to you all.
And to you, and a happy new year.
Yes.
And a happy new year. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to sign us off, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Oh, Osireion folks, you want to stay for just a minute?
Yes, ma'am.